Hello, fellow humans. Chris here again. So today I'm doing a little response slash reaction video. This person that I'm responding to, actually, the name is really cool. I like the name. Contrarian dude. Definitely kind of goes with my whole ending spiel about questioning the consensus and everything. So like the name. This particular video that I'm responding to is actually almost a year old, and the reason for that delay is that Beau, the fifth column, who is a person that was a big inspiration for me actually even starting this channel, he had a video a couple days ago, and this video referenced a very old video, Tale of Two Neighborhoods, and I hadn't seen that one, so I went back and watched that video, and the YouTube algorithm gods, whoever, found a connection between that and this video was recommended to me, and this video is the one I'm responding to. It's by Contrarian dude, and it is why Beau, the fifth column, pisses me off. So I'm going to start off by just showing the first little clip. Bear with me here. This is my first time doing a video where I'm kind of sharing clips and responding to them. So I'm going to share this opening clip, and then I'll kind of share my thoughts.
Basically, the first whole 8 minutes is talking about getting you to confess your privilege. He uses examples of, it's like, would you rather have a trust fund or not have a trust fund? If you have a trust fund, it's a privilege. That's a cool thing. You'd rather have it than not, right? It's a privilege. Like, he had a friend who, presumably a bullet injury, a hole in this cheek, exit wound out the other side. And it's just like, would you rather have a whole face or not your whole face? It's like, can you accept that having a whole face is a privilege? So just turn after turn after turn, just going through all the things that are privileges in life, and eventually he gets to skin tone.
All right, so I just showed him basically getting into the setting up of what Beau's video was about. I skipped the part where he kind of just flippantly goes off on like, oh, I looked through 3 or 4 of Beau's videos and they're just riddled with logical errors and fallacies, and I could get into that, but it would just be so boring, so I wanted to go into this fun one. So right off the bat, this kind of condescending tone, and so then he goes into these privileges that Beau is talking about, and how he's setting this up for this guilt that he's going to make you feel for the privilege that you might have. The reason why I want to point this out specifically, and I think it's important, is that he's establishing very early on that he really doesn't understand what Beau is talking about. The example that is in the clip I just showed, I think, was the person that has the hole shot through their face. There were a couple other ones that Beau had mentioned. The person who had lost a leg and he had a prosthetic leg, and the person who had a southern accent and he was discriminated against because people thought that this person was stupid because of his accent. In these examples, like in the one with the hole in the face, for example, Contrarian guy says, oh, he's saying that it's a privilege to have a whole face. Not having a hole in your face is kind of a privilege, right? That may be true, but that completely misses the point of what Beau was saying. And I think this is important, again, because this is leading up to the whole point of Beau's video when it comes to privilege. It's not that the guy has a hole in his face that makes him unprivileged. That may be true, that it is an exclusionary trait to have that, but this person was able to grow a beard. He was treated as somebody who was mean because he had the hole. Just like the person with the prosthetic leg, people thought that he needed extra help. And this person with the prosthetic leg, the exclusionary trait was not specifically that he had the prosthetic leg. It was the way he was treated because of it. He was able to wear long pants. The other example with the person who had the accent was able to kind of tone the accent down. These were all things that could be concealed to a certain extent. This is what leads him into the topic of skin color. which is something that can't be hidden. And again, I just think that this is an important point to understand.
He makes the general statement that being white is a privilege over being black. I'm going to take that in the best light possible and just help him on that. I think he's saying in this country. I think he would acknowledge that it would be advantageous to look, if you lived in China, to look Chinese, or if you lived in Japan, to look Japanese. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's not saying that whites are superior in all circumstances. Saying in a predominantly white country, it's better. There are some privileges that go along with being white.
All right, so in this clip, we again get the condescending attitude here. Oh, let me help him out. Let me speak for him here and tell you what I think he means. Let me give him a little boost. Let me give him the benefit of the doubt of what he actually meant. And also, I thought it was worth noting, so Beau himself actually makes this point at the end of his video, the one that Contrarian guy is responding to, and Beau says something to the effect of you being offended by white privilege and feeling that the term itself is un-American kind of reveals your cards in terms of who you think an American looks like. And he does the very same thing right here by saying that it's better to look Chinese in China, just like it's better to look Japanese in Japan. He's saying that in the context of saying that it's better to look white in American. So what does that tell you about what he thinks it means to look American? Let's get back to what Beau really meant, because Mr. Contrarian here was able to so graciously give us the help that Beau needed in explaining that, oh yeah, he was referring to white and black people in this country, which also, interestingly enough, he never actually says white or black. But let's just, give Contrarian guy the benefit of the doubt here, and let's listen to what Beau actually said.
But you can't hide it. What if it's plain as day? On your face, your skin tone. In the United States, I don't even think I need to say which skin tone would be a privilege and which skin tones might be considered an exclusionary trait. In the United States, I don't even think I need to say which skin tone would be a privilege. In the United States, 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 in the United States.
Okay, so hopefully we were able to dispel anything there. Able to help give Contrarian dude a little help there, and see what Beau, the fifth column, actually said in his statement. So good. Now that we got that all out in the clear. So after this, Contrarian dude gets into the nuts and bolts of what really pisses him off, why he's so triggered by Beau of the fifth column. And I won't show the whole clip. I'm linking both videos so you can go back and see. He cites the video where Beau says that, in a nutshell, if you are aware of the privilege that you have, if you have, like, for example, white privilege, if you're aware of the privilege and of the inequities that dispels on other people, perhaps at your benefit, and you don't speak out against it, it kind of makes you a bad person. That's basically what Beau said, and this is what Contrarian dude cites, and it's a fair point on Contrarian's side. That's what he says that Beau said, and that's essentially what Beau said. He kind of misrepresents what it means, though, and again, without going into the entire video, he shares this analogy of a drowning baby. And there's a drowning baby in a fountain. Whose responsibility is it to save the baby? Ultimately, it's the parent's responsibility and or the owner of the fountain. So not my baby, not my fountain. That's the point he brings up. Fair enough. From a legal standpoint, what he's saying is that if there are other bystanders also in the area and none of them saves this drowning baby, that only the parents are the ones legally responsible. And what he's getting at here is that you can't you can't give in a free society, you can't ascribe a positive, like, actionable action out of somebody. You can only not deny other people their rights. He goes into examples of freedom of speech and freedom of religion, and how the only way you have to obey those rules is that you can't stop somebody from saying what they want to say, practicing what they want to practice, believing what they want to believe.
The law recognizes that they cannot put upon you a positive obligation. And that's, if you really think about this drowning child, and you're just sitting there, don't go and help them, right? I get, I'm stretching your brain. I get it. Now, obviously I would, and obviously any normal person would go and help the baby. But there's some very important reasons in the law we understand, and in philosophy we understand you cannot make a slave of a human. You cannot give them positive obligations.
Okay, I'm having too much fun with this guy, and I can't do too many more of these clips because I only have about 134 subscribers, and I can't afford to make 23-minute videos because people will be dropping off like flies. So I'm gonna keep this fairly short, but just had to respond to this. So I love the idea that, oh, you're racking our brains. Like, I can't possibly keep up with where you're going here with the drowning baby analogy. No, I get it, dude. Like, you're trying to say you can't make somebody have an obligation. This analogy is horrible, and it actually hurts your cause so badly, and it's funny that you don't even realize that. Nowhere, anywhere, in this video or any video of Beau's is he hinting in any way that you have a legal obligation to do whatever it is. If you do watch his channel, you would know that he is a very big pusher of the idea that it's not about laws. It's not about legal changes. You don't make changes in a society or a community by changing the laws. You do that by changing people's thoughts, changing hearts and minds. So to say that somehow this equates to the idea of assigning legal blame to people for not helping a drowning baby completely misses the mark. He's not saying that you should be held legally liable. He is, however, putting his own moral judgment on that, which is his right to do, just as it's your right to do, to say that a normal person would save the baby. So it is okay for you to say that any normal person would save the baby, but it's not okay for him to say that any good person would speak out against iniquities.
Exactly how much of my voice do I have to use to not be a bad person? Can I mention it once in my lifetime? Do I have to mention it every day? Do I have to ruin every dinner party I ever go to talking about this stuff? What is my burden? When will I finally be a good person and leave the camp of being a bad person and finally have used my voice enough to be a good person?
So Beau actually answered this question himself. He commented on Contrarian Dude's video. He gave his answer about, well, you know the answer if you're a watcher of his channel, about doing what you can, when you can, where you can, for as long as you can. That was the unanswerable question that he answered. And then Beau was also asked if he was going to do a response video, and he said no. And I do think that kind of bothered a Contrarian Dude. I think he somehow thought that this guy who had over 500,000 subscribers was somehow indebted to him to give him the time of day. But fortunately, Mr. Little Old Me with my 100 subscribers, I'm responding. So you got that. But yeah, I just find the question kind of fascinating. The idea that it's a burden. If it feels like a burden to you, then maybe, as Beau would say, you need to do some soul searching, I think. I don't think it's intended to be a burden or a guilt trip. I think he makes that pretty clear, actually, in his video. Only you can really know what your capabilities are, where your priorities lie. That's personal responsibility, right? I think that's kind of a conservative ideal. Anyway, I'm going to let Beau answer that question here with another video. This was a more recent video. This was actually a video that spoke to me, had to do with burnout from trying to be involved in any kind of community networking situation. I felt like it resonated with me to a certain extent, so I appreciated the video. And in the video, I think he gives a pretty good answer to that question. Kind of fleshes out the whole what you can, where you can, but it gives it more context. And this particular video had to do with, again, with burnout and the idea of limiting yourself so that you don't overwork yourself or get too over emotionally involved.
Remember, you don't have to be the tip of the spear. You can back out. Maybe you're not the person distributing the food directly. Maybe you're the person packing the bags, doing the fundraising. You can move further away from being that point of contact. If you watch this channel, you know I'm a huge supporter of domestic violence shelters. It's like a big thing with me. Raise money, get supplies, do whatever they need. I do not go pick people up. You're entitled to a break. When you're talking about stuff like this, you do what you can, when you can, where you can, for as long as you can. But when you can't do it anymore, take a step back. Otherwise, you will burn out and you will never do it again. And that's not what anybody wants. That doesn't help.
So I'm gonna leave it at that. The video goes on for a little bit longer. It's like a lot of nonsense, really. It's a very trollish response, to be honest. Definitely trying to like poke fires, trying to like start something. I think trying to ignite some kind of reaction. A lot of like bad faith arguments, clearly not paying attention. I mean, demonstrated with a lot of the early mistakes of just not understanding the intent of what those examples of privilege were. You know, not really comprehending. I mean, literally thinking that he said something that he didn't say when it comes to this country. And it goes on with more of that kind of stuff. He does go on for a little while. He makes this leap about this sort of cult or religion that Beau is this pastor of, and that he's brainwashing all his followers, and then he makes this completely nonsensical, no research or evidence based to it, but that somehow this sort of behavior from somebody like Beau leads to the denigration of society. And his examples are, he goes through this list of these young women and just completely demonstrate just his misogyny and sexism, and just frankly just ethnocentrism, talking about how these women who were once beautiful and are now ugly, what they've done to themselves is the feminization and liberalism and feminism and all this is just corrupted and destroyed the young women in this country, and basically outs himself for the misogynist that he is, and that, you know, only my view, only my manufactured, Americanized, media influenced view of what it means to be beautiful stands up, and anything else is ugly, which I really find kind of ironic for somebody who seems to be so triggered by the idea of somebody else imposing their moral judgment onto you. But, you know, that's conservative hypocrisy in a nutshell. Anyway, thank you for sticking with me. If you've stuck with me this long, really appreciate it. I know this was definitely a long one. You can like and subscribe if you'd like, but it's okay. I usually don't ask for it, but figured I'd mention it since Contrarian Dude was talking about how people like Beau do that sort of thing, spread their message to get likes and subscribes, even though he never actually ever asks for them. But hey, you know, if you're so inclined. Anyway, thanks a lot. I appreciate it, and I'll be catching up with you all again real soon. Have a great rest of your day, and remember, don't be afraid to question the consensus.